Hey everyone, welcome to Force Conversations, the show where two scruffy-looking nerf herders like to get together and talk about all things Star Wars. My name's Jay.
And I'm a Death Trooper!
Welcome to the show. So, on to the next review. Now this is the comic catch-up now, right?
Yeah, comic catch-up in Comic Corner with Colin and Teddy. Right. Sorry about that, podcast listeners. Now, I have been reading. First of all, I've read the latest issue of Poe Dameron. I know I only reviewed last week issue 9, and this week I have read issue 10 because I was very behind. I'm not going to do a big review on it because, to be fair, I've discovered that Star Wars comics don't do much per issue and they're best to read in a block because the story doesn't move on that much. But what I will say about it, just as all the previous issues, it's the Gathering Storm Part 3, and it's written by Charles Soule with art by Phil Noto. And as I said last time, I like Phil Noto's art. I'm not so keen on Charles Soule's writing, but it's okay. What he has done is introduce a good character in ptIII, which I talked about last week as well. So that's all good.
So spoiler-wise, what happens in this issue?
I'm not telling you what happened in this issue,
come
but so there's about 3 things happen in this issue because it's the way that comics are written these days. First of all, interesting thing. Well, I don't know whether it's interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about it. You know, in Force Awakens, 3PO is going on about his little droid network, and that's how he's got his little spy network, and he knows what's happening to BB-8 and all things like that. In this issue, particularly, he's got like loads, about 20 odd droids in some kind of network that suddenly appear when he needs them, kind of thing, and or he activates them.
Question about that, right? So this is obviously set after the 3PO miniseries.
Yes.
Right? And there's quite a few droids in that. Does any of that tie into this?
I just realised I didn't read the 3PO miniseries.
Oh.
Because I looked at it and thought, no, I'm not interested.
Okay. Right, well, then you don't know is the answer. Well, I've got that miniseries, so I'll have to dig
because
it out
that
and check it
to
out.
be fair, that looked rubbish.
Someone told me it was actually really good. And it explains his red arm.
Okay, so anyway, he's got this droid network, and they were used to effect twice in the issue, which I just thought was a bit. I mean, I understand the droid network for communication across the galaxy, but having 20 odd droids suddenly pop up on the same little town seemed a bit weird.
Does he explain how he formed this or anything like that?
Not really, no.
Oh, okay.
So there's a bit of to and fro in there. We get more ptIII's background, which is excellent. So, first of all, his story is really progressing. A difficult, I don't know, I can spoil it, I guess, but
you know what? I would say just talk spoilers because the only way you can review it properly and actually talk about the comic.
Okay, so basically, he, as I said before, he was a Imperial or whatever it is, First Order security agent.
He was an Imperial. What was he? A stormtrooper?
Yeah.
Right?
Originally, he was a stormtrooper on the Battle of Jakku. And so this storyline is flashed back into what happened to him when he left Jakku, and then obviously it goes forward to him and what's happening with him and Poe on this planet that they're on. So he was like, he's this First Order security secret officer type bloke. Investigator, I think he is, investigator. And by this time, he's basically leaving. He's leaving the First Order, and he digs out his cool armor, which is like an adapted stormtrooper armor. It's got red and things like that on it.
I was going to say, you sent a picture of it. Well, we posted it last week. It looked like he was wearing pink.
Yeah, it's a pink. He's a pink stormtrooper. No, I don't think it's supposed to be pink, but it doesn't look pink.
I was like, he's wearing a pink stormtrooper armor. Like, what's going on there? I mean, well, yeah, okay, he's a bit flamboyant.
There's nothing wrong with pink.
I know, but it looks kind of crap.
Yeah, no, I don't think it looks crap, but it is a strange choice. But in the colour tones of the whole comic, it's quite pastel-y.
Right.
The colour palette of the comic, so it sort of fits. And I think if it wasn't, I think it is probably a darker red if it wasn't in the same colour palette that the colourist is using.
Okay.
That's how I'm justifying it in my mind. Because he is a badass, I think. And well, in this, he's showing he is a badass. So basically, the flashback shows that after, so basically, him and the matey boy that he's done a runner with after Jakku, I'm not going to do it anymore. They go and find some ships in a little gang, and Terex knows about where there's an Imperial factory where they've been building ships, and obviously since the Battle of Jakku and the Empire is finished, that's going to be not being guarded, so there'll be loads of ships there. So they go on a heist to go and get these ships, and the rest of the gang are saying to Terex, because Terex is completely loyal, he really wants to bring back the Empire. They're going, oh yeah, we're going to get the ships, and we're going to be making a new Empire and all this thing. But really, the others are just out for it to get ships and make money, and they don't care about the Empire, and they just want to bugger off, and they're going to double cross him.
Right.
But he is super clever, and he realises what they're going to do. And also, his ship that he's been flying around in, we find out used to be Grand Moff Tarkin's.
Okay.
And it was his private ship, so it's quite cool, and it's got all these extra guns, and I think it's got some kind of cloak on it, things like that. So, and anyway, so you see in the past how he actually stopped all the others, and then he got the gang behind him, and then he became this mega super criminal.
It's a Carrion Spike that he flies in? Is it that one?
Yeah, that's it, the Carrion Spike.
Oh, okay, cool. So that's still around then.
Yeah. So he became like this mega criminal, and was a big boss, big badass. And then somehow, what we don't know is how then he went back and joined the First Order. But in the present day, he's basically on this planet is where he had that original gang, and so he's now basically got his old costume back on, and now he's being a badass again. And he seems to have left the First Order. So he's quite interesting.
So him being an ex-stormtrooper, he's like the only stormtrooper that could do anything then from the Empire, because they were all pretty lame, right?
Yeah.
And he was like the only good one.
He probably only became good when he went pink.
And that must be it. Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know how I've just talked so long about that, because I was only just going to say I've read it and it was okay. It was good. So it was just moving the story along.
Like it moved his story along quite a bit, and you said last week that he's the best thing about this. Comic.
I mean, again, I'm interested to find out what his story is, and so that's pretty much being told. I think to get a good feel for that after this issue.
Does Poe do much in this issue, or is he in it?
Well, again, I'll spoil it then. So at the end of the last issue, he was knocked out.
Right.
And then the beginning of the issue, the way that he gets rescued is through CPO's little droid gang.
Ah.
Yeah, and then at the end, he gets rescued by the droid gang. Again.
Or what happens to him in the...
I can't remember. Something happened. He got caught again.
So basically, in the Poe Dameron comic, Poe Dameron gets his ass kicked and gets knocked out loads and gets rescued by other people. And then when we see him in The Force Awakens, he gets rescued.
Oh, the other ongoing storyline that's going on is that someone in Poe's squadron is a traitor.
Okay.
Someone's been feeding bad information, and you possibly find out who it is in this issue.
But you're not spoiling that bit.
No. And there's a trap at the end. And you see, because, again, obviously Terex has been hoarding all his ships. You see this big vault full of load of ships. which was why I was getting excited what you were saying earlier.
Okay. So there's some rebel ships and stuff like that in there.
Yeah, to be honest, it wasn't a great picture, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was the way it was, the perspective of it was, and again the colours, bit pink. I think he had a pink TIE fighter, to be honest.
Oh, I did. Hey, Batman had a pink suit at one time, so
I love that.
Yeah,
I loved that he had that.
But yeah, look, I like the look of the art from what you showed me. So
yeah, I love. I think Noto, the artist, is great. The colorist, I'm not so sure.
The color, guess, works with the art though, right?
It does. It looks nice, but yeah. Anyway,
right. So
moving
the next
on.
One.
And so the other thing is Han Solo 1 to 5. So I had previously read issues 1, 2, and 3, but it felt like a long time ago, and I had issues 4 and 5 in my pile, so I just reread them all. And it was better reading them all in one go.
And it's just a 5-part story.
5-part story.
Okay.
So the artist is Mark Brooks. He says,
and the writer is Marjorie Liu.
Marjorie Liu, that's it. Now, some would say Marjorie Poo, but not me, because I enjoyed it.
Yeah, you need some sleep, dude.
I do need some sleep. I had 4 hours. Let me tell you the rough story. First of all, art was great. Mark Brooks, very good artist. Didn't like the covers so much, and I can't remember now if it was the same person or not, but okay. I don't think it was. I will check that. Marjorie Liu, solid writer for a Han Solo book. But generally, the story is Han Solo. It's set literally again in that horrible, crappy period between A New Hope and Empire. Mm-hmm. The completely overcrowded, how much stuff are they going to try and fit in time period. Han Solo's a bit unsure of himself. He's having possibly a bit of an identity crisis because is he this scruffy smuggler, vagabond, cool dude, or is he a hip rebel, layers under the thumb kind of guy? Obviously, that romance hasn't fully blossomed yet. So he's hanging around, and he gets a message from Leia. She needs a ship. So he's not going to give the ship he's going to do whatever the mission is. And the mission is there's this big race, the Dragon Void Run. Again, I thought this could be a good opportunity to show us the Kessel Run, but it's not the Kessel Run. It's
the Dragon Void before, though. Oh, you just mean do it again?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, or just see if it's an annual thing. I don't know. If you're going to see Han Solo in a race, what race would you expect to see?
ptIII.
Oh, would you?
No.
ptIII. So he's going to do this Dragon Void race, and basically they want him to take part in that because it goes through, obviously, around the galaxy. And the route takes him past 3 planets where he's got to collect 3 rebel informants.
Right.
So the mission actually is to collect these 3 informants and rescue them. But he's going to use the race as his cover as to why he's going to all these places.
So the Kessel Run isn't actually a race, though. It's a route used for ships to smuggle spice.
All right.
But yeah, they could have had a race there. Why not?
Why not? I would have a race there. Yippee! That's my Anakin impression. The Dragon Void race. So the art is brilliant. Really good art. He draws spaceships and the racing and all that kind of stuff. Excellent. And then you get introduced to all the other races. Some interesting looking characters. There's a character that's the last of her kind. There's some Twi'leks. There's I don't know what the race is called. Sabula from episode 1, or Boodoo, little thing.
It's a Bulba, the dog.
Yeah. Oh, the dog. That's it. So you see a dog, and he's having a solo, and I think he says something similar to what he says in. I don't know if it's the same one or not. I mean, I don't know. It could be, but anyway. So he's there. Obviously, if you're going to have a race, you need a dog in it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so over the 5 issues, basically, he collects the 3 informants. Interesting bits around that. One of them looks like a white tiger. Is a lady, and she's got beef with Chewbacca.
Sorry, what? It's actually a tiger that's a character.
She looks like a Thundercat, big tiger. She's like a tiger. She's got a big tiger head and a body and she's a woman. And she's got beef with Chewbacca. So there's Tiger Lady.
Great.
Yeah, just what we need. And she's obviously a bit eggy.
And then you see Jackson.
And there's a little short guy with a little funny head, and he's a bit plebby, and he's gone, he's being scared all the time. And there's this other sort of young character guy, and the conceit is that one of them is going to kill the others. Right. We've got to try and guess who as well.
Okay.
And it's really obvious. And then also, someone that's helping him along the way, helping collect these people, is this green woman, and her name is, it's spelled U''il. I've got no idea how to pronounce that. But she is the same race as the bloke from the Black Sun that was in Shadows of the Empire.
Oh, Sheezel.
Yeah.
Prince Sheezel.
I'll take your word for that. So she's one of him. So that's quite interesting.
Race in there now as canon.
Yeah, and I think Black Sun's been mentioned before in the comics as well.
Yeah, I think I've seen that.
So I know we had a question from.
So let me just.
I think it was Jim. Jim's put us a question asking us what we think about Shadows of the Empire. Would we like to see that back in canon?
Yeah, it's better than all the crap in the comics. So she's a folly. She's a Faline, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what they are.
Yeah, I would. I'd especially as they hinted at the type Dash Rendar's ship in Rebels.
Yeah,
and stuff like that. I would be happy to have Shadows back. A lot of this stuff in the comics, man, just sounds like arse to me.
Yeah.
And there's a lot better stuff out there that they could use instead. So yeah, totally.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, just answering Jim's question. Jim, he's the one of the hosts on Nothing's On podcast, and he does a DC TV podcast as well on the Taylor Network of podcasts. Yeah, so I would love to. I mean, I really enjoyed Shadows of the Empire at the time. I'm not sure it's relevant now, though. I probably wouldn't bring it back into into canon, but you could take elements of it.
But and it looks like that's what they plan on doing, and especially if they brought that race back in. I
mean, the things like the Black Sun, so
you could probably see that coming. Elements of it would work well, and I hope that they don't bring it in Rebels.
Yeah,
because
as long as it's not
like
Ando.
Like a good episode, I don't think it would work. I mean, obviously we got a similar ship to.
If they bring it in, we want it in something dark and something serious that you can actually get a proper see the underbelly from.
Yeah, you want to be able to
be graphic,
have a look at the criminal underworld and that kind of stuff. And if that TV series Underworld that was planned,
on Netflix,
if they do go ahead with something like that, then that'd be a great place to bring some of these elements in.
When Disney buys Netflix, I'm sure it'll be on there.
Hopefully, yeah. Right.
Anyway, so just generally, so that's the story. He's got to do the race. He's got to get these 3 people alive, and one of them's going to kill the other. To be honest, it's a 5-issue miniseries. It reads really quick. It's just, I mean, it could be done if it was a cartoon or it would be an hour episode of TV.
What does it do to advance the character of Han Solo in the canon?
It does nothing because, I mean, like, I was reading the read up. I think I emailed it over to you, and it was all, Han Solo's at his transition period. What will he do? I didn't really get that from reading it. He didn't seem that bothered. It's Han Solo. He's doing what he does. He wasn't, there's a little bit of him and Leia, and at the end their hands almost touch.
Which we got all that tension in Empire anyway. We didn't need to go there.
To be honest, the episode, it would have made a fantastic CGI cartoon or episode of a TV series, because that race would have looked brilliant. I mean, if the art was to go by, I would love to see an hour episode of Han Solo in a race,
right,
with that little story going on in the background. That would have been a great episode of a TV show. Yeah, but for a comic, I mean, I personally don't find races or things like that exciting in a comic, because you can't see it. It doesn't move. And like I say, nothing new. There was an interesting character in there. That character that was the last of its own kind was interesting. There was one thing that's slightly interesting. I did see that someone's done a video about it as well. The fact that it does introduce the concepts of different dimensions.
Oh, okay.
So, so basically now canon is the fact that there are different dimensions in Star Wars.
Oh.
Which is, to me, too sci-fi. I know it's sci-fi, but it's not that kind of sci-fi.
It's fantasy. It's science fantasy, isn't it? And, you know what, right? I was thinking about this when we were talking about the comics last week, and how I didn't like that they were in the canon and all that. And what I think would have been better had they done it was to have them more like a what if, in a sense, and said to Marvel, all right, you can do wherever you want, but make the first story A New Hope, right?
Yeah.
But something different happens.
They've done that in the Dark Horse run.
Right.
Did you read any of those?
Go off it. I've read the odd book here and there, but not. I didn't follow it. Like,
so
I have like a couple that I picked up because that looks good. Yeah. But they should have done stuff like that. Then they can go off wherever they want, and it doesn't affect anyone.
Yeah, there's been quite a few different sort of legend what-if stories. Like there's one about that when Darth Vader takes Leia and actually finds Leia at a younger age and trains her up, and she becomes his apprentice.
Yeah.
And then there is the actual what-ifs that they've done for the 3 films.
And the Dark Horse
where they do something
pretty good, right? The Star Wars ones.
Yeah. I mean, again, I think, look, like anything, the quality isn't 100% consistent.
Yeah.
Peaks and troughs.
But that's what's going to happen here.
Of course it is.
Right.
The more you get, I mean, to be honest, Dark Horse had the Star Wars comics for a bloody long time.
Yeah.
And they kicked off really, really strong with things like Dark Empire. And they ended up really strong with that Brian Wood run, which again was set in this same time area. So we'd literally just seen it, and then Marvel decided to do the same thing.
But I just feel like they're doing it worse.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's why if they had done it kind of like the what if thing, they can do whatever they want. They can use any character. You can have you have all this wonderful stuff here to play with, but it's just tying it all. I don't want to go into this again because we've gone into 2 weeks in a row, but you know what I mean? Like, this is where they should
stop moaning.
In my opinion. I like to moan. What can I say?
You moaner. Anyway, so look, great art, okay story. It was okay. I would probably regret paying cover price for the issues. It would probably have been my lesson learned here is Star Wars comics are better off read in trades, because week to week, as Poe Dameron is showing me, it's just not satisfying. You need to read it in a block.
Yeah.
And luckily, because I'm always so behind, I have been reading a block, but now I'm caught up. It's getting annoying. So I would, one, it's probably cheaper to read them in trade, pardon me, and 2, it reads better. I mean, I enjoyed the Han Solo book a lot more. I think if I'd just read issue 4 and 5 this week, I probably would have been a bit miffed.
Okay, cool.
So there you go.
There you go. That's your little comic roundup then.
Comic roundup. Bye-bye. We've got some more comments. Shall I give you some comments?
Go for it. We're actually running way over time now, but go for it.
That's fine.
We'll
Let's just do it anyway. This is a good... Like doing that. What a lovely way to... Look, the whole thing of this show is forced conversations. And so I'm forcing more conversation down your throat. I ain't letting go.
Let's do it.
The people have spoken.
Well, last time I looked, no one had spoken. So
yeah, people have spoken. So look, Daniel Hackett, he's on his honeymoon at the moment,
and it looks lovely.
Yeah, he's looking at the old Northern Lights. Yeah. Him and his lovely wife, who I don't know, don't even know him, but he's a lovely bloke. I know there's a million theories about Snoke, who Snoke is, but firstly, who do you guys think he is? Would you prefer him to be a known character or a totally new character? And just before I answer that, because I put this on both our Facebook group and on the Taylor network of podcast thing,
right.
Jim Diaz also asked a very similar question, if I can find it. I'm sure he did. He said, any theories on Snoke's identity? Is he just a new character cut from the whole cloth, or is he someone we know from the other films? So both questions similar. Snoke, I think, is a completely new character.
Yeah, so do I, and I hope he is in a way.
Yeah, me too.
Because he's new. If he's a new character, he's a new old character, because he says that he's been there and seen the rise of the Empire and the fall of the Empire and all that stuff. There's a horrible rumour going around, people going, oh, I reckon he's Darth Maul and he's had his horns cut off. And no.
No.
No, and he didn't look like he had robot legs either, by the way. But no, I just...
he could... I mean, if Obi-Wan really matches him up...
But apparently he's going to be seen in Episode 8. And
who? Darth Maul?
No, Snoke. And he's not going to be a hologram, right?
Good.
So he's going to be a puppet. So a person and a puppet. And he's going to be about 7 foot tall.
Cool.
Right? So that's the info on him. Now, looking at characters we've seen before, I don't really think of many that fit that kind of look.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows if they'll end up tying him into Plagueis somehow, because Plagueis is not immune anymore in the canon. He was in the book. That's now a Legends book. So in the canon, he's not immune. They don't say what he is. I don't know that he'll even be connected to Plagueis. I just think he's going to be a new character. They're going to have a whole new story there.
Yeah.
I think to me, that's how it just seems. I don't really. And this also is a good opportunity for them to make the galaxy a bigger place with some more characters in it. You know, he saw the rise and the fall of the Empire, but the galaxy's a big place, and the Empire were all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
So he's old. That's cool. Like, you know, he's been around a long time. He's witnessed it all, and he's scarred up. So he's obviously someone who's got a bit of a story to him as well. But I like the idea of him being new.
So do I. I mean, like I say, if there was any link to any pre-existing character, the one I'd like to see is the Plagueis storyline, potentially. But I honestly don't think he will be. I think he's going to be brand new. Shiny and new.
And old.
And crusty and lanky. Okay. Next comment I've got is from Glenn Clark. And he's commenting on the Taylor Network of podcasts. If you could bring one EU character into canon, who would it be, and what effect do you think this character's presence would have?
There's a character. So the Old Republic is considered Legends, isn't it? Right, and
but it's not been formally covered, is it?
What's this one's name? People are going to know. I can't remember her name. You probably know. It's a female bounty hunter who's in the Old Republic. But obviously, they can't bring her in because she's from back then, unless they brought her into the modern era. But I would kind of like to see that. I want to
Yeah,
see
but
that
they could go back to the past.
Yeah,
I mean, there's no reason they couldn't do a flashback story either through Rebels. I mean, if potentially we're going to talk about the old Mandalorians next week on Saturday, you know, so there's nothing to stop something being brought in. And as we said, you know, our dream new Star Wars TV series will be an anthology anyway. So,
yep. Let's see. I've got I can't remember what her name was.
Well, while you're looking it up, I will give you mine.
Okay.
I mean, there's quite a few that I'd love to see, but my favourite character from the EU. Ah, Shay.
And you probably want Mara Jade as well.
I wouldn't mind her. But the people that the EU was based on, to me, the story of the expanded universe was around Jaina, Jason, Anakin, and Ben.
Mm-hmm.
They were the characters, and so particular Jaina is my probably favourite EU character. Sword of the Jedi. And she, you know, you see her grow through the whole for the period that we've been
in now, though.
Well, this is it. It's almost impossible, isn't it? Unless you couldn't bring her in as Jaina Solo, I don't think.
No.
Which is, I mean, to be honest, Rave ruined it because she was who I thought was going to be bloody Jaina.
Oh, I did as well, actually. And in a way, it's a shame that they didn't use those characters. I mean, like Ray's cool and everything, you know, and
I guess they didn't want to tread anything that potentially people have seen.
Yeah.
But like again, I think because I was quickly looking through some videos on the train on the way home, and one of the great videos that we watched was talking about Darth Caedus and and comparing him to Kylo. And Darth Caedus, if you don't know, he was Jason Solo. He goes to the dark side. Really, again, the books, those Legends books are brilliant because you see these characters go from little kids all the way through. They take over. It really becomes about them. You know, the rise and fall, the deaths of some of the characters, and even Ben Solo, who is that much younger than the others. You even get to a decent age with him. Not Ben Skywalker, sorry. So, yeah, I'd love to see Jaina. I just don't. Yeah, you just couldn't really bring them in, and it would be cheap. And I mean, the concept of a sort of Jedi and that kind of thing. But again, you need a whole Jedi Academy to do that, and we're not gonna. I don't think we're gonna see that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you will see Luke start to develop something like that in the later movies, and you'll get characters that are maybe similar to these or something.
I mean, I would love that that Luke was almost training all the people that we would have seen in the extended universe. You know, when we flash back to all the people that he's training, they are all the characters that we've seen. You know, and grew up, you know, read all the adventures of. But one, it means they're probably all dead, which isn't so fun. Or two, they're in hiding somewhere and he's got a secret. I mean, it'd be cool if it's like a James Bond film where he pulls down a thing and all of a sudden there's everyone training in the background going, like that.
Well, do you think, like Mara Jade, we just mentioned
shooting machine guns.
She was a very popular character, right?
She was.
And
the hand of the
Emperor, right? And she's very connected to Luke. Yeah. Now, I doubt very much they're going to bring her in because Luke's old, so she's going to be old as well. So, I mean, do you think do you think they would bring her in as another character not called Mara Jade and maybe have?
It's too late. I mean, what worked was, you know, that whole storyline was straight after, unless it's in the novels.
Yeah. Oh,
and they introduce her through the novels, and then maybe we see her in later life.
Yeah.
But again, that could be another reason why Luke's in hiding, because she's been killed or something, you know.
Yeah.
All right. So on the Taylor network of podcasts, our boss, Darryl Taylor, he's actually left us some queries, so we can't miss his off because he'd tell us off otherwise. I don't know if he can sack us or not. So Darryl's asked, first of all, with the passing of Carrie Fisher, what would each of you do with her storyline if you had complete control?
Okay, so this is something. It's a very difficult one to sort of like, what would be the right thing to do? But, and as you know, I like the Collider videos, and they've actually talked about this in the past few days. And while watching it, I seem to find myself agreeing with them, and it is to recast, because the character of Princess Leia,
is important.
Carrie Fisher has played her for 40 odd years.
Mm-hmm.
I think she would want the character to continue and play out her story.
Yeah.
And I think that there's plenty of very talented actresses out there who would be willing to take on the role and do it justice, like in a sense, in honor of Carrie Fisher doing it, but also play the character well. It would be about casting someone who can act it well, but also you want to try and get the look similar as well.
Also, I mean,
someone mentioned Diane Lane, and I went, yeah, okay, I could see someone like her maybe taking it on.
I'd rather someone we don't know. I think that's why Mon Mothma works. I mean, to be fair, we didn't know who she was anyway. But
yeah, but then you've really got to find someone who can act that part well. If it's someone you don't like, if it's a known actress, you can probably find one. Like, oh, she could do it well. She could do it well. I think someone said Sally Field, which I'd never thought. I was like, oh. I think that was Ken Knapsack on there. He said Sally Field, and I went, yeah, that could work. After I looked, I was like, yeah, and she's a good actress, But yeah, it's a really difficult one. But I think recasting would be the way to go, especially if she had an important role in Ben's life and all that kind of stuff,
My view is, what I don't want to see is the storyline compromised. And if they were building up a big role for her, I don't want that to go out the window just because she's died.
Which apparently they were.
And so that's what I don't want. And to be fair, and this is controversial, and I don't know if we're going to get hate mail for this, I wouldn't mind if they did a CGI of her. Because, to be honest, it's going to be 3 years away.
Yeah.
It's not like it's tomorrow. It's not like it's going to be in this year's film. It's going to be in literally 3 years. And so...
With the CGI, it's just making sure that you can get it looking...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Don't do it if it's rubbish.
No,
don't do it if it's rubbish. But if it works, and it's good enough, again, 3 years' time. Technology progresses so quickly. So I wouldn't mind if they did CGI, but again, that would still need someone underneath to actually act it out. Mm-hmm. And but to be honest, I mean, look, I think your idea is the best. Let's just recast it.
It's the old thing that Marvel say, that I know this is her character, and that's the hardest part. If it was someone like when you look at, say, James Bond.
Yeah.
James Bond, they do like 3-4 movies, then they recast, and it's still the same character. But either they could just continue the story, they just make it. How you had Judi Dench, played M, but with 2 different James Bonds.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go, okay, the
James Bond's a Time Lord, by the way.
If you go, the character is more important. So you recast it, and I think people, as much as initially it'd be like, it's not Princess Leia. You get over it. If they play the part well, if they do the part well, they make her. I mean, they can do wonderful things with makeup these days. They make her look quite a lot like her. If the story's good, the writing for the character's good, the acting's good.
I think the important thing to remember is
all given justice. People will get over it, and it'd be they put something at the end in memory of Carrie Fisher or something.
I think the point is, and again, I don't want to be disrespectful, but at the end of the day, Princess Leia is a character, and Carrie Fisher is a person. They are 2 separate things. Now, obviously, Carrie Fisher brought Princess Leia to life and did the most amazing job, and it made her the character that she is. But it's still a character, and it will have its own life. And ultimately, Star Wars is not going away. And so unfortunately, people die. And in the future, more people from Star Wars are going to die. And we're still going to tell stories about those characters.
And we're getting a young Han Solo movie where they're recasting Han Solo, who, as you pointed out last week, he can't be that far away from the age he is in New Hope.
No, exactly.
And he looks quite a bit different. Now, obviously, we haven't seen what he's going to look like as Han Solo, and I bet when we do, we suddenly go, oh my God, he really looks like Harrison Ford, even though he doesn't. You know?
I think the key bit is, in Rogue One, they didn't need to CGI Tarkin because they have got actors that look like him in
the
episode
that played him actually looks like him.
Yeah, and the actor in episode 3 looks like him. So they didn't need to CGI him. They didn't do it with Mon Mothma. They probably have started down a rabbit hole they didn't need to go down.
Yeah, I think they just wanted to show what they could do with the technology, and it's a nice little touch, you know. It's like, hey, look, here's Tarkin, you know, as you saw him. But really, they could have got away. And even the girl that played Leia, you know, they picked people who have similar face shapes, and she doesn't look just like Carrie Fisher, but a bit of makeup and everything, a bit of styling, they would have had her looking. You'd be like, oh, it's not her.
It would have been
kind of looks like her, you know. And with Guy Henry, it played Tarkin. A little bit of prosthetics on him, and it would have been spot on, you know. So yeah, they can. I think that recasting for me would be probably the best way to go, and it'd just be about making sure that they did the character justice in the story.
Okay, right. Thank you, Jay. So a couple more quick ones because I think it's time to wind us up. Daryl's also put a second question, and I think this has got a lot quicker answer. Would you read the Star Wars comics if it was just the same story but not Star Wars characters?
I barely read them now.
Well, I wouldn't have picked them up in the first place. I mean, yes, I think a couple of the key titles, the creative team would have brought me in. So, Jason Aaron, fantastic writer. I pretty much read most of his stuff. So I might have picked it up. Same for Kieran Gillen, who did the Darth Vader one. And the arts are great. But probably no. Probably no is the answer.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
And if I had have, I wouldn't have stayed.
I picked up the ones I did because they were Star Wars comics and because it was supposedly, well, because it's part of the canon.
Because it was canon. But that's why I'm reading them, because it's canon.
Even with it being canon, I struggle, and I haven't read, I'm not up to date because I just got bored of them. I will try and catch up as much as I can, but yeah.
You must complete your training.
Well, yeah, maybe some trades or something. I'll wait for you to tell me what ones are worth reading.
Okay, I'll do that. And then, right, just to wrap up the last couple of comments. Yes, we've done Snoke Theory. Well, Archie, I might have covered them all. I might cover them all.
This is a very tense moment as we find out if we have any more questions.
We have no more questions. Okay. We've done a brilliant job of answering everyone's question. Thank you, everyone that did submit. We really appreciate it. We know we put it up a bit last minute, but we would love to do this again. You know, honestly, if you've got comments, we'd love to talk about your ideas. And like I say, you can post them on Facebook. You can tweet us at Force Convo and use the hashtag Force Convo. And Jay, you can email us at
forceconvo@gmail.com.
That's it. Correct, Jay. Correct. What else can we do? We talked about SoundCloud.
Well, now we're getting into the wrapping up.
But let's wrap up.
Yeah. Well, that was a bit of a
random
episode. Yes, you can find us at the place we just mentioned, which are Force Conversations on Facebook. Tweet us at Force Convo on Twitter using hashtag. You can Force Convo. You can get me at the _letter_J_tank, and you can get Colin at
Captain Colin.
We are on SoundCloud. We are on iTunes.
Yeah.
And the links will be below. And
we are also on the Taylor network of podcasts. So again, it's the home of many great geeky podcasts, some of which are Double Pay Spread, Nothing's On, No Apologies, Gotham by Geek, JK's Happy Hour, Go Trek Yourself, Nerd is Bond, and us. So I'm sure there's loads more, and there are loads more. They're brilliant. They're all fun. and geeky. So definitely check those out. But YouTube is the place. If you want to see my beautiful face, YouTube's where you need to be. If you're listening to the podcast there and you're thinking, that guy's got such an amazing voice, I bet his face is just as amazing. Why don't you check it out? We're on YouTube, Force Conversations, and it's probably the best video you'll ever see in your life. You will not believe the production. The sets are amazing, aren't they, Jay?
Oh, they're wonderful.
So your mind's eye does not do this justice. Go and have a look at the video.
And if you do, please like it, hit that thumbs up button,
please
subscribe, and of course leave us comments.
Yeah, because I want YouTube money.
If you press the little bell there, you'll get a nice little notification to tell you whenever we upload something new.
Yeah.
Right, so that'll do it for us for this week.
That will.
And until next week, may the Force be with you.
Punch it, Chewie! Oh, that's so cool!